The internet punching bag of the week has pretty much been stuck on rotation between the same 5 people for the past year or 2. The classic Ethan Hassan Destiny trio. Then Anissa Joma and Anissa Joma's wife iDubbbz. At one point though, a new challenger appeared, a foe so smug, so unlikable on a base, instinctual level, that the entire internet seemed to have stopped whatever they were doing beforehand, just to turn and spit on him. I mean, I've seen YouTubers with under 5k subs get millions of views, just by making lazy videos calling this guy a piece of shit. I'm of course talking about Moldavia's Fig Tree, otherwise known as Pirate Software.
I was watching a video that was critiquing you for mentioning you work at Blizzard so much. I literally never talk about it. When I worked at Blizzard, I did that for Blizzard. Blizzard, 7 years, yeah. Blizzard. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. Used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. You're red team specialist for Blizzard Entertainment. And Blizzard. Is having worked at Blizzard. I grew up at Blizzard.
This guy looks like Critical, Asmongold, and Eagle Raptor all had a gay butt baby together, and then told him he was always right and never wrong for 20-something years. He first got into controversy over getting his team killed in World of Warcraft or something.
Run.
Keep targeting me. You get
Heal him.
Yeah, you just heal me. Just come back a little bit.
Boss is on me, sitting bear form.
Pirate, why are you walking, bro?
What are you talking about? Why am I walking?
This
Look at
is
my mana.
savage shit, but come on,
Innovate
man.
you?
Do you see my mana? What am I supposed to do for you?
I hate breathing. I hate being alive. I'm in tremendous pain. Help me.
I called run,
I'm in so much
I
pain.
ran, and I was out of mana. I don't know what the hell they were expecting. That does not make any sense.
Then he really started getting into hot water when he openly opposed the Stop Killing Games movement. And, the internet didn't like that. The internet didn't like that at all. To the point that he got a petition that was struggling to gain any traction at all to over 1.4 million signatures, basically out of pure spite. Of course, that wasn't all. The internet did its thing and dug into his past, finding out that he was a gay furry and published some shitty games. One of which is actually related to the main topic of today's video. Despite being unfinished and in early access since early 2018, I'm sure this is probably the 100th video you've seen on this guy. After all, at the peak of this dude's controversy, the algorithm was basically hooking an IV up to people's recommendations tab, full of pure pirate software hate videos, and pretty much any video game account on any website was taking a huge dump on him. Just looking up his name on YouTube gives you countless results, and trying to find a positive one is like trying to find fucking Waldo. But believe it or not, there was a controversy centered around him, long ago, where a fair amount of people were actually on his side in an attempt to take down MattPat, that is. Yes, the game theorist himself. MattPat is, or at least was, one of the top 100 creators on the platform, and with that amount of attention, he'd of course have a lot of fans, but he'd also have a lot of rabid haters as well. Not as rabid as Dreams were, but still pretty bad. I mean, Dreams fans were probably worse than MattPat's haters, but you get the point. From saying Ness was Sans to donating to Autism Speaks, people looked for any reason they could to hate on MattPat. But probably the stupidest time people tried to cancel MattPat was when he committed the grave sin of playing an indie game. No, I'm not joking. Now let me take you back to the past, when MattPat played Pirate Software's shitty game that sucked ass.
This game is fucking horrible!
It should be noted that this was before Pirate Software was famous or well known. In this controversy, he was basically just viewed as a poor, nameless, faceless indie dev who was claiming to be getting screwed over by the big guy who was stealing his hard work. MattPat found his small indie game, Heartbound, that was in development. Almost nobody knew what Heartbound was until MattPat decided to pick it up. For most people, this would seem like a lucky break. One of the biggest YouTubers was playing your game and talking about it, putting more eyes on it? This kind of thing could turn someone from a starving artist to a massive success basically overnight. Even if the game sucked, which in the case of Pirate Software, it did. But it also invoked Undertale vibes, which people wanted more of, especially since Deltarune Chapter 1 released a bit before this drama went down. People would give 4 to 5 figures to much smaller YouTubers to make a good review of their game, but Pirate Software got it for free from a giant YouTuber, yet it still wasn't enough. So the vile Moldavia's fig tree came up with an idea. An awful idea. The furry got a wonderful, awful idea, in which he attempted to use MattPat's charity to make his game even more famous.
Hey, MattPat GT, I'm pretty disappointed here, and so is our community. Your recent GT Live came across as an Undertale clickbait mashup instead of being about Heartbound. You never linked to our game, and you got our studio name wrong as well.
Now, what exactly does that mean? Did MattPat hide the name of his game? Did he prevent people who were interested in it from searching for it somehow? No, he just didn't link directly to the game, and accidentally got the name of the dev team wrong. Just so you know, most gaming channels don't even bother talking about the dev team at all, let alone link a game you can just search if you're interested. So basically, MattPat was being held to a standard that nobody else was being held to, and people just went along with it because they didn't like him. He also said some stuff about the stream being clickbait, because it was titled and tagged with Undertale, when it was actually about Heartbound, as if people were actively searching up the name Heartbound. MattPat was actually doing him a huge favor by baiting people with something popular just to expose them to Pirate Software's awful game. But I guess ego just kind of kicks logic to the curb when you're a nepo baby. That, or he actually knew exactly what he was doing, which isn't out of the question, since his whole game is playing the algorithm with the name Pirate and Software, two of the most googled words according to him. He basically successfully framed everything as a larger creator taking advantage of the little guy, and since nobody knew who he was yet, everyone bought it. The tweet got a lot of attention, and eventually it got to the point where it got him a response from MattPat, or at least a guy running MattPat's Twitter.
I'm sorry to hear you're disappointed in our recent playthrough of Heartbound, but what you see as disrespectful, I would argue is the opposite. Let me explain. First, I don't review the thumbnails, tags, descriptions, etc. prior to live streams going up anymore. That's handled by 2 members of our team. However, I train them, so their decisions are on me. That said, their goal is to make live streams as searchable as possible, and for games with limited searchability, that's important, as it gets them the audience and attention they deserve. It's the same rationale behind our Deltarune videos being branded as Undertale 2. Your game is great, and by relating it to something similar that our audience already knows and enjoys, we're hoping to introduce them to it when they might not have checked it out if left with zero context. That's the rationale. I hope it makes sense. Regarding links, we don't tend to link back to the games we're playing. That's not an intentional slight on you, it's just rarely something we do for games that aren't fan-made or free. We'll talk about having a more standard policy around that. Lastly, I'm sorry I got your name wrong. Steph had called out the tweet earlier in the stream, but by the end I had forgotten the second word. My apologies for misspeaking. Hopefully that helps clear some things up. Again, no disrespect was meant.
None of those Twitter users knew how YouTube SEO worked. Like I said, you can't title your video the name of unknown indie game and expect the algorithm to pick it up. MattPat did nothing wrong and everything right to boost this guy's game. The problem with MattPat is that he's too likable. He doesn't seem like a real person. He feels more like the creation of a company to create the least problematic man in the world to push their brand. People like that last a long time, but make a lot of people distrust them with how fake they seem. Jason, on the other hand, no one had a problem with because he was the new kid on the block, doing what he could to bring a rich guy down a peg. People really just needed a flimsy allegation to go after MattPat, and now they had one. Even Toby Fox, creator of the album about 12-year-old boys getting pregnant, and also Undertale, came in to back Pirate Software up in order to defeat the evil MattPat. So evil, in fact, that he manipulated his audience into giving Toby Fox hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is why internet friends and internet favors never pay off in the end. I know to some people, this tweet will come off as even-handed and reasonable, but it's actually the opposite. This dude is just throwing someone who helped him out massively under the bus, without actually considering the criticism or MattPat's response, all because the quote-unquote innocent victim is another indie dev. Maybe you can consider this, stick to your principles, but if this is where it gets you, then your principles are fucking stupid, and you should probably rethink them. Nowadays, nobody has anything nice to say about Heartbound, but when MattPat played it on stream, he seemed to love it and said nothing but nice things about it. Now, he did come across as a bit defensive in these tweets, but then he fixed his mistake, even though it really wasn't a mistake. Years went by, most people forgot about what happened. Pirate Software started growing faster and faster by making like 1 million YouTube shorts. But now that more eyes were on him, He was no longer an innocent, nameless, faceless indie dev. People started to notice things. After multiple controversies happened basically one after another, everyone looked back into what he did to MattPat and realized he made a mountain out of a nothing burger, and Toby Fox helped him do it. It was clear that Mr. Pirate Software did worse to a lot of other people than what MattPat ever did to him.
Wow, what an asshole.
So what have we learned? Don't help anyone grow. There's a chance it will make them upset. Don't stand by people who boosted your career, and throw a tantrum if you get a boost in fame. Do all of this and you will get away with it for years. But if you are a victim of a smear campaign like this, just know that over time in the end, the truth will come out. It might take half a decade, but the tides turn pretty easily when someone is a big enough piece of shit. MattPat did nothing wrong and said sorry, while Pirate Software did pretty much nothing right, and according to Meat Canyon, would rather eat his own ass than ever admit he was wrong about anything. Just because a drama may seem cut and dry, doesn't mean things won't change down the road. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please send me money on Patreon, and check out my new channel, where I do full reviews of movies and TV shows. I just uploaded an original video, not a re-upload. It's my full review of Velma Season 2. I hope you guys check it out. Anyways, let's get to the credits.